What we need now is someone that is interested in shutting off the apparent slush fund tap on some of this reckless spending, in addition to putting the pedal to the metal with regard to spurring investments and increasing jobs and opportunities for Bahamians. The first order of business is to stop all of this wasteful spending, non-capital expenditure spending in particular. The government wastes too much money and gets too little done in return. Issues such as ill-advised trips, wasteful gasoline allowances without proper record keeping, in addition to food and accommodation for meaningless seminars and functions that have no significant impact. All of this must be brought under some sort of order. All of this must be done before we get to the issues such as double and triple invoicing for the same goods, built-in contingencies into contracts that are grossly negligent, as well as planning ahead to avoid last-minute spending rushes coordinated by shady vendors that arrange their crooked deeds with government agents on the take. We need to project to Moody's and to the world that we are firmly holding wasteful spending to a bare minimum, and we will continue this trend within the foreseeable future. But they must first see evidence that this is being done. Secondly, we need to not only announce that we have projects on the drawing board, but we have approval documents and copies of permits, licenses, a calendar of launch dates, and names of personnel involved in these projects so that they can be verified, and they need to be on the table at our ratings agencies meetings. By doing so, it fosters trust and transparency, as it gives confidence that we are doing business above board and we have a firm idea on how to base our growth projections based on sound projects that at least have a likelihood of starting within the next 3 to 6 months. Thirdly, we must commit to performance indicators and performance-based budgeting. We simply cannot take the cookie-cutter approach to the budget process any longer. Neither can we afford to keep backward-moving projects on the table because we are too prideful to see them discontinued, while we also cannot take an arbitrary approach to which projects we should keep or scrap. Performance indicators can be easily done and can be prompted nationwide within a matter of months once the necessary importance is placed on them to do so. Fourthly, we must find a way to unlock private sector credit again. A plan for such must include declaring banks, but greater emphasis must be placed on risk matrices, and that needs to be mandated across the board. Further, we must utilize business insurance in a more meaningful way in the face of default, and also new measures that insist with unlocking private sector credit may have sunset clauses attached, but once there is an idea that shared responsibility for expanding credit between the government and the banks is being achieved, we can begin to see improvement in the medium and long term. The international agencies must see a strategy in place, even if it may be minimal, and also they must feel confident that steps have been taken and work has been started in this regard. Last but not least, it is certainly fundamental as the former. We need to revamp the Bahamas Investment Authority with a view in mind to modernizing the investment process and make it more transparent and automatic. In addition to increasing transparency, we must increase the threshold for projects seeking incentives or approvals and do so beyond the cabinet level. Too often, small but significant projects are held up due to unknown or unforeseen administrative constraints that have no explanation or rationale to these holdups. We must liberalize the process and penalize those that slack off in doing their jobs expediting these proposals, and do so without fear and without prejudice. Also, we must prioritize through the public sector chain investments and put in place personnel in each government department that has a part to play in the investment approval, launch, and process, from business licensing to construction permits, and make them understand that they are part of this public sector chain and their duties are clearly defined. These are the issues that rating agencies like Moody's and Standard & Poor's are looking for. This is what they want to hear from a DNA government, or any government for that matter. This is what the DNA government will do, and we will see results. Results from credit ratings upgrades, in addition to results on the ground in terms of increased employment and opportunities for Bahamians. This is Youri Kemp, the DNA candidate for Garden Hills, spokesperson for the economy and finance.